Grand Rising, everybody. How you doing? This is your Coach Renz, and welcome to Why I Left Religion with Coach Renz. Today we're going to have a great show. Today we're going to talk about, should non-Christians participate in Christmas? I mean, it's not their holiday. But we're going to talk about, should even Christians participate in Christmas? Or does it even matter? I'm going to give a few minutes for people to get on, but if you find this channel for the first time, we are a religious deconstructing channel, primarily Christianity, since that's the one that I came out of. And I am here to help people who have decided to walk away from Christianity. I have a cigar company, so I am about to light my cigar. If I can find the next, there we go. Didn't have the live yesterday. My apologies. Had to see a man about a horse. We couldn't get our schedules together until it was too late to come to do a live. So that's why there was no live yesterday. Smoking these little hypnotics. A little small hypnotic today. Got about 3 of them. Got this little sugarcane tip, Dominican Puro. But anyway, that means that all the leaves are Dominican. I want to welcome everybody to the channel. I usually give people about 5 minutes to get on. And we're going to talk about Christmas. Grand Rising Wade. Deadpool in the house. With Mr. Wade Wilson. So I want to know, Grand Rising Renee, do you participate in Christmas festivities? I'm not saying you celebrate Christmas, but there's a difference between celebrating Christmas and participating in Christmas festivities. So do you celebrate Christmas or do you participate in Christmas festivities? Yeah, Wade, we changed it to 1 o'clock Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Mondays and Fridays, I got to be able to get other work done. And then, of course, Fridays and Monday can easily be a travel day. Wade said he don't celebrate, cause problems in his house every year. Grand Rising Diana. Grand Rising to Renee and Thaddeus. Trauma. Galvin, Grand Rising. Gavin said, last time I checked, there wasn't much to celebrate in the first place. So, I'll start. All right. So, about 75% of my family is Christian. Right? About 75%. A lot of the younger ones have started walking away from Christianity. So about 75% of my family is Christian. And I'm talking about my life. From my 2 grandparents, Eddie J. Ross and Isabel Ross, there's like 90 descendants that we are all connected, still connected to each other here in Georgia for the most part. So from those 2 people and their kids, mainly the daughters and the one son, we have a family vacation every year, and we do a family holiday party. They call it a Christmas party. I say it's a holiday party. And don't get mad at me, but as quiet as it kept, I'm the one who started both in my family. For these last 26 years we've been having it. I started both. And the reason why I started, now one, I wasn't quite out of Christianity when I started. But that wasn't the main reason I started. I started because my family was fractured after my grandmother passed away. None of us we weren't really connecting. The cousins weren't connecting. The sisters were still connected, but all of us cousins, we were disconnecting. So when I got back from Germany, I realized that my family was splintered. And plus, some of you guys have heard this before. Grand Rising Daisy. But I had this vision when I was at 15, and right after about a week after my grandfather died, and he told me that the family was going to fracture, and it was going to be up to me to bring them back together. Right. So this is a vision that I had. Well, by 1993, after my grandmother passed away in 92, by the time I get back from Germany in 97, the family is completely fractured. Right? Nobody is getting along. Nobody's spending time with each other. And one of those things that kept us together was that every summer we would go to Ohio, ride on the back of a truck, go to Ohio. And then every Christmas, no matter what you did at your parents' house, everybody eventually came to grandmother's house. So when I got back, the first thing I did, I invited my entire family down to Florida to come stay at my house, all expenses paid, no big deal. We did that for a couple of years. And then we started doing that. And then that following year, since they had Toys for Tots and they told us that we can take a whole bunch of toys after everything was over, I packed up like 5 of them big giant trash bags full of toys, called my aunt, said, get everybody together, we're going to have a Christmas party, and let everybody come together. I got toys for all the kids. So I get there and I'm, 6, 8, 9 toys per child. Santa Claus with the black trash bags. And so the next year, get everybody together. I got the toys again. And the next year, same thing. And then I got hurt and I got out in the Marine Corps. But even after that, my guys were still down in Florida. So the next 2 years, I still did that. And it became a tradition. And then, we started doing names and stuff at that point. So for me, it wasn't about, it's about family. It's about us coming together. It's about saving my family, my extended family. That's what it became. So that is why even still to this day, I will go. We just had it Saturday. And I will go. I don't care. I know they're going to pray. I know they're going to say they Jesus stuff. They don't bother me. They don't come up and try to challenge me or say things to me and all that stuff. But I recognize that a lot of them are Christian. Most of them are Christian. But for me, it's about family. When my kids was growing up, they never believed in Santa Claus. It wasn't about Jesus' birthday. It was still about family and just a time to have fun in family. So my question and the title for today is, although the title only gave me so much room, but it was should non-Christians celebrate Christmas? And of course, we're going to go into should Christians even celebrate Christmas? All right. But I wanted to know if you celebrate or participate in this holiday. And that's my story. That's why I still, the ones who are in the military, this is the time frame they may come home. The ones away at college, this is the time they may come home. Even though we had it so early this year that none of the military or the college kids came home. Because they're still in class and it's not time for them to take a break. So I thought that was a bad planning to have it this past Saturday. All right. Grand Rising Sheila. But, because, and the other thing is what made me think about this. So one of my former customers calls me up the other day and we get to talking. And then after we finished our conversation, I started thinking about the fact that him and his family are in this. Go to a beautiful temple. Their temple is beautiful. They gave us a tour. We went and they gave us a tour of the whole place. And, and we got to watch and somewhat participate in their rituals. Beautiful place. Gosh, the architecture is so amazing. But they celebrate Christmas. and they're in this. Diana says, so I started thinking about that. Like, Christmas is such a worldwide event that it's not religious. I know it's commercialized to be damn. So you participate with family having 2 days off? But you got people of all kind of religions. You got Muslims, everybody. My neighborhood is Muslim. Is like half Muslim. I would imagine that I never paid attention during Christmas last year because I was working. Last 2 years, sorry. Because I was working so much, I never paid attention. But I'm actually gonna. I did notice one of my Muslim neighbors, when you first drive into the neighborhood, he got little Christmas lights on his mailbox. And I know he Muslim. I done seen them going to the mosque. That's right there. The mosque is like right across the street. Do the holidays with family. It's not about the religion. It's about family. Everyone's getting together, right? I see most people saying it's about family. Right? Like Yoshi saying the same thing. Just not so much about the religious stuff, just the opportunity to get together. They are America. They're in America. And I was going to bring that up. So in my life, I spent the first Christmas I spent outside of America. We were in Dubai. And they had Christmas decorations, and they was having Christmas festivals, and I was in Dubai. The first time I spent Christmas outside of America, and this was before Dubai looked like it looked now. I'm talking about 1990. Well, no, it would have been the 91 Christmas in Dubai, and Dubai, you still had desert and camels and shit walking around. I mean, it was a city, but it wasn't nothing like it is today. My second Christmas outside of America, I was, the hell was it? I was in Bahrain. And what do they call it? Bahrain. And they Muslim, and they had Christmas stuff going on too. The consumerism is everywhere. Right. Now I get it. And it's a retail holiday. The consumerism is everywhere. They teach kids that Santa Claus is a gimmick for Western culture to use monetary gain to name different cultures around the world, which is true. Ooh, I got way behind y'all. Sheila said now that she's left, she hated but don't care so much one way or another. It means nothing outside of the religion for her. I understand that one. Somebody said something that I missed. I know y'all are typing like champs, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the shares and all that stuff as well. But so I'm getting the sense that most of y'all don't celebrate it, but you do take the time to be around family. Now, this is true, Dana. You're not interested in Christmas or whatever they want to make it represent. We should celebrate family every day, however possible, not just at this time. That's true. We should. Unfortunately, people ain't gonna do that. We get caught up into our own little lives, and we stay stuck in our life and don't pay much attention to what's going on around us too tough. We should be celebrating family every day. Grand Rising, Bribo, Right Boy. We call you Dunn because I'm probably messing up that first one. Every time you say Christi, where you are saying the name of a false mighty one, Christ has nothing to do with the scripture. As far as we're concerned on this page, Christ is a false mighty one as well. So it doesn't matter to talk about this and use it and say the name because Christ ain't real either. It's a false god. Your Jesus character, to be more specific. No, you're not wrong. Grand Rising Debbie, Grand Rising Mike. They even let the slaves off, if I'm not mistaken. True, that was one of the days that the slaves got off. Didn't have to work that day. Grand Rising. So we got Mike L and Mike T. But yes, it's a combination of multiple traditions. All are welcome, even atheists. And I know atheists who celebrate Christmas. But as I said, they celebrate it in a family structure. But I don't know if there's any Christians on here. If there are, I'm really curious, or have you guys ever heard of a Christian being offended that a non-Christian is celebrating Christmas? Now, Cornelius wrote a book. See this book he wrote. Rising Cornelius. I'll be talking about Christmas. Do you want to? Do you know what's going on in our race? I'll be at talking about Christmas. Do you know what's going on in our race? If we don't come together, you know what's going to happen. What's going to happen to be a gay to destroy all black people off the planet? You were in about Christmas. They killed over 4 million black people a year. Don't worry about Christmas. Okay, so Cornelius, if you expect that every black person should just have one conversation all the time, is that what your point is? That is the only conversation we should have? And here's the other part. Talk about whatever I want to talk about on my page. I.e., you can create a page and talk about whatever you want to talk about. And today I felt like talking about Christmas. Now, if you have been here other times, we do talk about other things as well that might fit your paradigm. So maybe today's just not a good day for you. And maybe this is why they don't get mad, because Jesus really doesn't have nothing to do with his wife, and it doesn't really matter. Thanksgiving, she said Thanksgiving she won't do. Grand Rising Big Steely Urban Farm. I just wanted to say the name. Now, the Romans celebrated Saturnalia, which they did have orgies and things of that nature. It wasn't necessarily called Christmas. Some people think that, and the jury is out for me. Yes, there's a Christian excuse that they've calculated the conception happening on the 25th of March, and then 9 months later is the 25th of December. But I think they was also trying to compensate for all the other religious holidays that they were trying to usurp. So it could go either way for me. The point is, but the Romans did celebrate Saturnalia, and they had big old orgies during that time frame. This is interesting. I just wish we would stop perpetuating the rich man's plan of dividing humanity. Got folks thinking white and black are a different race. And I agree with you on that one. That's why I don't get it. I try to stay out of the race baiting conversations because even though we have to deal with racism on this matter plane of understanding, there is really no such thing as race. Some made up bullshit. And Mike L, you're right. The Romans pretty much, damn near most holidays and just most daily life in Roman society, orgy was a common thing. But you gotta understand, it was different. It's a different culture. To them, there was no big deal with orgies. So for them to have an orgy would be the same as going to happy hour. It's not frowned upon, nor does everybody do it. But it's not, it's just a common thing in life. But yes, it's all made up. Everything is just made up. Man makes man, everything is man created. And we can, I mean, who was it who created Kwanzaa? I forgot the guy's name. I can see him in my mind. I see the face. But he created Kwanzaa. He had a good idea for what he was doing. It didn't work, and it's still not going to work as a unifier for black people and give black people something to celebrate. Unfortunately, we're a capitalistic society. If you don't have any food and drink, food, alcohol, and presents involved, it's not going to work. Not Stephen Hawkins. No, it was created before the 90s. It was before the 90s. Who created Kwanzaa? Well, he was born Ronald McKinley Everett. But he created the idea of Kwanzaa. His name now is Maulana Karenga. Scholar, activist, author. I think it was in the 1960s. Yep. Well, he was born in 41. But thank you, Angelina. He created Kwanzaa in 1966. Every race has a way of holiday celebration or Christmas. Let's stay on focus and don't distract the coach with crazy out of question. Thank you, Daisy. Yeah, Kwanzaa. Let me tell you when most people heard about Kwanzaa. When it was featured on the Cosby Show. Most of us would have heard about it when it was featured on the Cosby Show. So, we do know that holidays are created. But shouldn't Christians have a problem with other people celebrating Christmas who don't believe in Christmas? Shouldn't they also have a problem with all the materialism of Christmas? And it will be easy for them to stop it. If every Christian in America decided that they were not going to participate in the commercialization of Christmas, that would shut the holiday down. It screw up the economy. We go through a recession, or at least have a couple of bad years until companies adjust it. But since 30% of most companies' income is made during this time frame. But if Christians truly was all about their deity, then they wouldn't celebrate, they wouldn't participate in the commercialization of Christmas. They wouldn't. Because the Christmas tree is pagan, according to them. So they shouldn't have a Christmas tree. So they wouldn't be buying those. Of course, the gift giving comes from them stealing it, talking about, oh, well, because of the wise man brought gifts to Jesus. Right? So even if they still participated in that, it was only 3 gifts that were given. You know what that? So that don't work. It really should be a time. Sure, they might celebrate, but all the commercialization should be taken out of it. But they wouldn't be. I'm not going to read everything that Brian Boy put on here, but that last statement, they adorn themselves with silver and gold, they fasten it with, and whatever the rest of that scripture says. But they're not supposed to be adorning themselves according to their scriptures with all the silver, gold, and all that sort of thing. So Christians surely should be upset with the commercialization of Christmas. And if anybody is celebrating Christmas who do not believe in their Jesus character, then they should have a problem with that. They should have a problem with my Muslim neighbor over there with Christmas lights on his mailbox. They say these green cracks will commercialize funky feet. Well, they will commercialize anything. The only reason Juneteenth is getting more pushed because they're beginning to commercialize it. This broadcast is about to destroy Christian and Christianity. What's next? I think we far from that. This broadcast ain't that powerful, bro. But yeah, I'm with Diana. Pretty much everything about Christmas is paganistic, according to them. So why do they still celebrate? Oh, I know Denise. I think Debbie said that the witch is witchcraft, and ain't nothing wrong with witchcraft. It's just the funny thing about it is that they only do the witchcraft that they do is great. The witchcraft other people do is bad. All right. So Quinn, Grand Rising, got a real question about it. I have a real question about Christmas. How and where a fat man with a white beard riding 12 around? Oh man, you have multiple different stories where that comes from. You have a story of a monk in Anatolia who was giving out gifts to the kids in his little town at the town next to him on Christmas. These poor children. You have the Animascarid mushroom. Is also people getting high on that mushroom is where Santa Claus came from. And so I mean the monk was Santa Claus. You have a Germanic story of this old fat dude who would sneak into people's houses and give out Christmas toys. So you have multiple stories around the Mediterranean about some dude giving out free toys, and I think the guy in Germany, in Germany or Sweden, one of those two, was the one who had his sleigh man pulled by reindeer. And then it just got commercialized, and I forgot who originally commercialized it to be the cartoonish fat dude. Said, "What about Muslim buddies sold Christmas?" I don't even know. Oh, one of your Muslim buddies sold Christmas trees. He got trees right here, and that's funny. Right, David was JW, so they never celebrate Christmas. At least J Dub's got that part right. They do have that part right, that they don't celebrate Christmas. Yeah, it might be some big store that created it. Hell, Hallmark not created so much bullshit. It could be them for all we know. Haven't you asked me this question before? But my ancestors are from Mali and Nigeria. Hmm. Thank you, Yoshi. There was the Saint Nicholas who used to, like I told you, what was that Tuesday when we was having our secondary conversation, and I brought up Willy Wonka. So if you read where some of these stories come from, shit's horrifying. There was a Saint Nicholas they gave toys to lure kids into molesting. They will do some jacked up stuff. If you live in America, you celebrating capitalism. You got to be completely self-sufficient. Yeah. Let me tell you, 7 Day Adventists ain't supposed to, but I know a whole bunch of 7 Day Adventists who celebrate the shit out of Christmas. Yeah. That is one. Now, we don't know a whole lot about Saturnalia, but one of the things about Saturnalia, one of the possibilities of Saturnalia is that they gave gifts to little kids for in exchange for sex. But there's literary proof of there's some literature about that, but then there's some literature that goes against that at the same time. So it's not 100% on that one. So Quinn said, I asked that because I celebrate winter solstice. I burn the Yule log for about a week or so, and the whole point of the Yule log is to keep your family safe. Hmm. I really don't celebrate it. If I'm around people who are celebrating it, then I just kind of hang out with them and go with the flow. Um, but all the deity stuff, nah. All the I'm finna break my bank account to buy a whole bunch of stuff, nah. Like when my kids was growing up, on their born day, they got way more presents on their born day than they would ever get on Christmas Day. Now, this I was waiting for somebody to say this one. Diana is saying it. Christians might not be upset with us celebrating Christmas because they get a laugh thinking that we do believe in Christ deep down, or so they hope. I think they will take anything that looks like they may be getting their message across. I think they will applaud it, and that is the one reason why I think Christians don't get upset about other people who are non-Christians celebrating this holiday that's supposed to be dedicated to their deity. I mean, hell, it's called Christ Mass. You know, Now, I don't respond to a whole bunch of postings of people putting their little scriptures, putting their scriptures up there, Brian, unless it's a scripture that was something that we're talking about in that one. But so that's why I haven't said anything about any of those. But this one, you're right. The SDA religion is one of the worst cult cultures to be involved in. They all get right up. They all get right up to Christmas and act out the birth of a false mighty one. Where the hell are my glasses? And act out the birth of a false mighty one on the Christian so-called J-man. Nothing to do with scripture. Well, this is true. And I definitely know how it's funny. They won't get all involved too much in their church, but then they all go home and celebrate Christmas. And then they'll have a family dinner. You know, like, you motherfuckers celebrating Christmas. Y'all got trees and toys and all that shit. But as far as the Bible is concerned, you're right. It doesn't have nothing to do with that. Not that that means a whole lot in itself, even if the book did. Because this book is filled with a whole bunch of holidays that people are supposed to be celebrating, and that they're supposed to be killing all these animals, and they don't do that either. Nobody follows the holidays. They don't really follow the holidays of this book. And this is the part that I never understood. It's all a fashion show, and all they're doing is trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's why I would never spend. I wasn't going to spend a bunch of money, because even when I was Christian, I still wasn't spending a bunch of money. And you know, my kids weren't learning it. And then even when I broke away and their mom was still Christian, she loves the holiday as a family thing and decorating and all that kind of stuff. But to the kids, it was just a family time. But I still refuse to spend a whole bunch of money on that bullshit. They'll mark up, you go to places, they mark something up by 70% and then mark it down by 50% and telling you you're getting a half off deal. I'm not falling for that. All you gotta do is wait for after the holiday, and then you can go buy all that shit and it's marked down 70% back to its regular price, or marked down 80 or 90% if it's going out of stock. We was talking about both, really. I know Jehovah's Witnesses are very strict about not celebrating. I've never seen them celebrate, but I've seen plenty of 7-day Adventists celebrate Christmas. And from my understanding, they're not supposed to be celebrating Christmas either. I could be wrong. I know the ones I've known, they weren't supposed to. Look, if you want to, and I don't like that word pagan, because there is no such thing as pagan. To say pagan means that somebody else is right. Ain't none of them religions right. But no holiday is going to be able to work and get over on with the people if it doesn't include at least two things. 2 of 3 things have to be included: gifts, alcohol, and food. You got to have those 3 in order to make your holiday work. If you got to have at least two of those 3 got to be involved. You can have food, you can have presents, or you can have presents and alcohol. You can have alcohol and food. You got to have at least 2 of them. You can't just have one. It ain't gonna work. You know what? My bad. There is one. There is one holiday that does work, and it only has one. That's Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo is all about the alcohol. And it was a great advertising program, because that's all Cinco de Mayo is an advertising program to introduce Corona to America. But you got to have that. You know, like I said. And then, of course, they'll find out a way to commercialize it to make more money off of it. That's why Kwanzaa ain't making them. That's why people didn't get up with Kwanzaa. It got a meal, but look at the meal. And then it's 12 days. Then it got gifts, but it's handmade gifts. We not living in 1800s. We're not doing no handmade gifts. Yoshi, Trauma and Yoshi said they'll smoke to that. No, it's not. It's not the day the Mexicans won against the French. It's actually the day that the Mexicans, that there was a Mexican native, indigenous Mexican group lost a mountain battle against the Spanish. But it was actually, they got their ass whooped. And so that's actually what Cinco de Mayo is in Mexico. The company Corona used that date as they introduced their beer to Texas, and it was Cinco de Mayo. And people thought it was like, some people thought it was Mexican Independence Day, and it's not. It was all an advertising campaign based on a lost battle. Yeah. One battle they win. No, I'm saying they lost. The indigenous people lost the battle to the Spanish. But you know, some things they commemorate that. Like if you ever, so when I trained with the Israeli military, on the graduation of that training, the ceremony is held at Masada. Masada is a place where they held out for like 40 plus days or something like that for a long ass time. And they all committed suicide at the end, but they were able to hold off. I think it was the Romans. I don't think it was the Greeks. I think it was the Romans that they was able to hold off for like all this time frame. And so it's they lost the battle, but their fight and their zeal and what they was able to accomplish with so few people against a large scale fighting force. So when you graduate through this training that we went through, it's at Masada. And they commemorate that. And it's really a cool place to visit. If you ever go to Israel, you can go and take a tour of Masada as well. But it was the Romans. Thank you, Sheila. And right, Mexican Independence Day is September 16th. It was a battle they lost. Every nation shall have their own. And that is true. December 25th has always been about the sun. And those nations that worship the sun, which is every goddamn nation, really. Almost every nation worship the sun. At some point, sometime. Whether it's the Babylonians or Tammuz, would say be born on this day to the Queen of Heaven. You know, the earth, Nimrod incarnate. Shamash was the sun deity. There are plenty of sun deities. And it's completely understandable for them to have worshiped the sun. Yes, they did commit suicide. It is completely, I do not get upset at the fact that ancient man worshiped the sun. With their lack of scientific knowledge, but even without a lack of scientific knowledge, we know today that if our sun disappeared, we all dead. Life as we know it is over. So I'm like Yoshi. I worship the sun to a certain extent because I recognize the life that the sun gives us. Right. And it grows our plants. Wait a minute. I mean, it grows our plants. Tobacco leaves for me. We know what kind of plant it grows for Yoshi. That we smoke. I like my cigars. So yeah. And to be correct, Trauma, we don't worship the sun, but I'm aware of what it's doing. I give the sun its respect. The sun is not emotional. Hell, I'd rather worship the sun. Angelina worshipped the water and the sun. That's why she's a beach bum. But we have to have it. We have to have the sun. We have to have the water. Without it, all life on this planet is over. Our life is gone. Shit, Trauma, you giving them too much time. Trauma said if the sun doesn't come up, you're dead in a week. Bro, if the sun doesn't come up, you're gonna be dead in about 16 minutes. You got about 16 minutes and it's over. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't really, the word worship, not so much. I respect the sun. I appreciate the sun. I don't worship the sun. I appreciate it for being there, for doing what it does. I appreciate air, water, the trees, plankton, everything in nature. I appreciate it. Yeah. And the sun doesn't bash you and tell you that you're going to hell. Oh, Jeremy said the same thing. He appreciated it. So there is no I don't have a problem with all the old back in the day people worshiping the sun. They were just misinformed. They thought it was some deity, some god did it. And so instead of believing in the creator, we believe in the things he made. Y'all can't agree on who your creator is. It's certainly not the God of the Bible. It's not the God of the Torah. It's not the God of the Quran or the God of the Vedics or the God of any of these books that was written by men. If there is a God, it is just a force, an energy. Because I didn't see this video and it was so awful with that. It was trying to use I forgot what it's called. I think it's called the Dax equation. No, that's not the Dax equation. Dax equation is something else. Forgot what it was trying to use. But the echoes that we can see, and we can see back when how the universe was back in the day. And from the singularity, but he only used half of the model. He didn't use the other half of the model to show how it's a continuous cycle. No. This idea that this God is in this Bible or in any book is, it's false. And out of that, no matter what the God is, people have created their religions, their ideas. All of them wind up being capitalized. See, don't get mad at the capitalization of America. One of the reasons why they got rid of Akhenaten when he wanted to go back to the Akhten and to a one God centric mentality that 4,000 years Egyptians had a one God mentality, is because all the other shops, he wrecked the economy. All the people selling the little idols of Heru and Asar, Set, and and Seth, and selling all these different, Rainy Nutet. Oh, you need Rainy Nutet. Place it in your garden so that your fields will be protected and grow. Da, da, da. He messed up the balance of commerce. All these deities have been co-opted and marketed and money made off of them. And God is a cop-out for you to act good or to act bad. It's all within yourself. Everyone is so worried about what's going to happen when they die. They don't think to consider their being total dicks while they're in this reality. Which is what they should be concerned about, is who they are in this reality. Not so much of what's happening next, because what you do in this reality is actually going to, in my humble opinion, determine what happens next. Yeah. But yeah, they need someone to blame for their fuck ups. Like nobody knows. I love how people are so sure they know what's going to happen. You know, and some people tell me, oh man, you know, when you're doing your videos, you need to say definitely, definitively what happens after death. You got to stop saying this is what you think, believe, hypothesize. You got to be definitive. I'm like, how can I be definitive about something that nobody has any fucking proof of? At best, it's a educated guess based on the evidence that we have on Earth. Well, in this matter plane existence, in this gross matter existence. At best, nobody knows. I have a cousin. She just passed away. She has a better sense of what happens next than I do. Knowing her, she coming back. She coming back. I like this statement. Do we live in a creation? Because there is the paradox of, if there is a creator, then what created the creator? If we live in the mind of the creator, who are the parents of the creative mind? Who are the parents that created that? Right. Nobody can tell me what happens when they die and they stand right in front of me. They're basing it on, most of the time, they're basing it on some religion that they believe in. Like let me tell you, the dream I had last night, and there's one part of the dream I can't tell y'all about. But I can, but we're not right now. The dream I had last night, when I tell you I was living that thing as tangible as I am living and breathing right now, it was real. The cars were real. The house was real. The plant life, real. The air, real. The people, the words, everything was as real as right now. Like literally when I woke up, and this happens to me most of the time, when I wake up, I have to sit there for a second and orient myself to recognize that I am actually awake. Like that's how real my dreams be. That I have to, I wake up and I lie there and I'm checking to make sure, am I actually awake or am I still in a dream? Because I have gone 3 deep into a dream. So I literally have to do that. And definitely this morning, because this morning, I had to do it twice. From the first dream and the second dream, I had to do it. I wasn't lucid in those dreams last night. When I'm lucid, I know it's a dream. Because if I don't like the way it's going, I'll rewind it and I'll change it and I'll make it go how I want it to go. So when you have a lucid dream, you can do that. But when there's no controls, I don't have any controls. in the dream and I'm just participating how I would normally participate in life, I can't tell the difference if it's a dream or not. And reality is just that. It's what you create. All of y'all are, think about it, everybody on here right now is living in their own reality. Y'all were doing stuff before we all came together right now and having a shared reality. Like right now we're having a shared reality. But before that, uh, you know, Lenora, Grand Rising, Kevin, Grand Rising, y'all was having y'all own existence and I had nothing to do with it. Wasn't a part of it. And so Sheila's having her own. Everybody has their own. And then we come together and for moments we have shared realities. But everybody creates their own reality. If there is no creator, who created the sun, moon, stars, dirt, gases, and who or what put these things into existence? Well, if you listen to science, then there are just natural forces in the universe that have always existed. And through those natural forces, all things came into existence. But those natural forces are not conscious forces. They're not conscious in the way that we would deem consciousness of a deity. They're forces that just do what they do. And why does there have to be somebody who created? Like if you look at the idea, if you look at the singularity, there is the expanded universe that crunches down and becomes the singularity, and then the singularity explodes back out and becomes the universe, and then crunches back down into a singularity, then expands back out to a universe. Now, within the universe, because within our own universe, we have seen singularities happen and then explode out and create, the gas clouds and then those gas clouds and creates nebulas and all this stuff and planets and suns and stars are born and all these things happen. So there's evidence of that. So the hypothesis is valid of the Big Bang and Big Crunch. It's a valid hypothesis. The hardest part about proving it, other than being able to look at the echo frequencies that we can see as the farther out we look, nothing will remain. There will be no physical evidence that you'll be able to hold on to. Have you been in a dream so real you could step into the dream, knowing you are still dreaming? Yeah. When I'm doing most of my dreams are that way, where it's just I'm lucid and I can step into them and they're real. I can step into the dream knowing you are, and I can go into a dream knowing that I'm dreaming. But the ones like last night, I had no control. It was like I was living a life. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. What woke me up the first time out of the first dream is the fact that I died. Like all the light left. And it was a feeling of emptiness and eternity and fullness all at the same time. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. It was emptiness, but it was fullness and it was eternity all together, all in one moment. But it freaked me out a little bit and I woke up. And then I went back to sleep and had another dream. Oh, shit. Let me see. Now we talked about that before. When I'm in a lucid dream, to recognize I'm in a dream, I'll 3 taps on my hand, and that lets me know that I'm lucid dreaming. And that's something I developed through meditation. Yeah. If there's a creator exists on a plane where time doesn't exist. Well, you can kind of say time, well, time does exist in our universe. It exists differently throughout the universe. But yeah, time would have to cease to exist to a creator, if there was a creator. The universe is cause and effects, and that's how we get our cause and effects. There was no mysterious person, it's just physics. Yeah. Right now, the most logical is that it's just physics. It's just nature. Yeah, it didn't freak me out. It made me wake up. Like it just made me. I woke up, and I know that there's been times where it's a storm or something, or actually it don't even have to be a storm. Uh, where I live, sometimes the grid is just messed up and the power just will go off and then it'll come back on like 10 minutes later. And when the power goes off in the house and I'm asleep, I can feel it. So my first reaction was, did the power go off? And that's how I interpreted it in a dream. But I looked over at the humidifier and I saw the lights from the humidifier. So I was like, no, the power didn't go off. And so then I just got into the feeling that I was having and recognized what it was. And the thing that did kind of throw me off is the first time I ever died in a dream. There's been times I've had the falling dream, when you're falling, but as soon as I get close to the ground, I fly right back up, and then I might be falling, then I fly right back up. Um, I had the car wreck dream. I had all kind of dreams where you could die, but I've never died in a dream before. This is the first time I've experienced like where death, this death, the body death. And it might have something dealing with what was going on in the dream. That the life I was living in that dream, in my conscious mind, I would consider that life to be death. If I had to live that life that I was living in that dream. Seems like, yeah, I might. I'm contemplating that one because I'm starting to realize I thought everybody dreamed every night, and I'm finding out that people don't. And so it's weirding me out. Just the idea. I can't imagine not dreaming. I dream every night. I can go take a 10-minute nap right now and I will have a dream. You saying that they're not physics is hard, it's hard to believe physics? Now, that's why I said in the level of consciousness to which we in this gross matter determine consciousness. Everything has consciousness. We just may not be able to communicate or click with every level of consciousness in its fullness. Like a blade of grass has consciousness. And if we could connect with that blade of grass consciousness, we could probably manipulate the grass and make it grow. Or what I do know is that the blade of grass consciousness is an instinctive consciousness that feels energy that we don't feel. I've been in meditative states and shroom states where I've been the grass. I was the alligator. I was the rock, the lava. And each one of them had their own type of consciousness that was more either instinctual or elemental. senses of morality in the way we sense morality wasn't there. But there was no good and evils. It just is. Is eternity considered time? Because suppose that's where God is. Eternity is just our best way of trying to say a place without time, where there is no end and no beginning. I've never had time in my dream. Never had a dream where time wasn't a part of the dream, like when I'm awake. Where time wasn't a part of the dream, when you're awake. I mean, in my normal dreams, time exists in the same manner that time exists now. Although things may happen, I can have a whole year life. I can live a year in that dream, and it feels like a year. Yet the dream, I was only asleep for, a couple hours. But last night, right around, five. Actually, I know exactly what it was. 5:36. Everything shut off. Consciousness didn't shut off, but everything just. It's like the switch went off. All the light went away, and it was just emptiness and fullness and eternity. All it was weird. And I ceased existing on the plane that I was on. No, I'm gonna disagree with you. Everyone dies. When I have my night terrors, I don't die. I never die in my night terrors. Unfortunately, I fight. Whatever is coming at me in my night terrors, I don't run from it. I fight it. I believe lucid dreams are our way to the multiverse and the other you seeing through the eyes. What was that? They kind of did that on Multiverse of Madness, where they were saying that every dream that you have is you're really just tapping into a life that you led or are leading in the multiverse. I fell way behind. Let me catch up, y'all. Sorry. So I know I'm gonna skip a bunch of stuff just to catch up. Grand Rising to Terrence and Michelle. I've had a salvia. Oh. I have a salvia experience that was several months of a life that wasn't mine. And 30 seconds later, I was back to reality. Yoshi, you the only person I know of that knows about salvia. Any other? Well, no, you're not. That's one of the person who introduced me to salvia. So there's that person. Yeah, salvia lasts about 30 seconds, but you can feel like the time lapse is greater than the 30 seconds. Oh, it was a song? Okay. The only thing I don't like about salvia is that metallic taste that you get in your mouth. Oh, I thought. No, he meant sativa. But there is a sage called salvia. Salvia is a non-addictive, and I'm not saying anybody should do this, but it's a non-addictive sage that you smoke, um, and it's a hallucinogen, but it only lasts about 30 seconds, and you will do some serious. Actually, that was one of the best experiences I ever had was a salvia trip. Right, it's a designer sage. Crystal, you know about that? Crystal Waltz just spelled it. I'll put it up here. I wouldn't say it's like ayahuasca. Well, it's like if ayahuasca was a grandfather, salvia would be an infant. You will get this metallic taste in your mouth, but oh, and there's this. Everybody I know who's done it, because other people have done it after I introduced it to them. Only one person didn't sink. But if whatever chair you're sitting in, you will sink through the chair and travel. And you know when in the first Doctor Strange movie, when she tapped that joke on the head and he went through that little vortex, you're gonna go through a little vortex first, and then you'll pop out somewhere to wherever your mind takes you. But I'm not saying anybody should do this, but everybody, just your state of mind is very important to any type of hallucinogen. Even weed, your state of mind has a big bearing on it. Sounds a little methish. And it's just like you get this metallic taste in your mouth for a minute. I know about that Starship used to sell it. If you are from Georgia, you know what a Starship is. The only thing I know about Starship, and I live in Georgia, the only thing I know about Starship is the porn store. Well, the adult toy store, Starship. But yeah, you'll go right out like gravity just pulling you. But it's a great mind trip. Actually, I reordered myself from my first salvia trip. Um, I don't mind telling y'all about it. So, if you went to my grandparents' house now, my aunt lives there now. She has completely paved the majority of the backyard, and she took down the big ass oak tree that was in the left corner of the yard. So when I took that salvia trip, once I came out the vortex, I was hovering above the big oak tree, and then my 9-year-old self was riding a bicycle around the yard, but it had the ground that it is now, but the oak tree was there, which is gone. And I noticed immediately that the oak tree is here, but the ground is different. And then my 9-year-old self looked up, saw me, and he kept saying, "You forgot who you are. You forgot who you are. You forgot who you are." Right. And at that time frame in my life, I wasn't thinking about that. But after the experience, I realized that I looked at my life and I was like, this is not me. This is before I started all of this. No, it was after this. I had already started all this because the person I remember personally introduced to it, I had just met them. So I had just started doing YouTube videos back then. But yeah. And I had one of the marijuana little bones things, and people always thought I smoked marijuana. I was like, no, this is for salvia. But I hope she got some money from it. But yeah, it's a non-addictive little short little thing. Yeah, and I was different after that. After that, I felt more emboldened to do these videos. Before then, I was. If you go back all the way back to when I did my first YouTube videos, they weren't so much like this, like the videos I do today. Grand Rising Brian W. You thought it was stronger than DMT. I found out that it was because it was a vape. Real DMT is a space trip. Yeah. Once I get my passport stuff squared away, I am going to the rainforest or Jamaica and doing the ayahuasca trip. I did it a long time ago, but I was much younger. My mind wasn't where it is today, so I want to try it again. I already didn't fear death at that time frame, so it wasn't. I didn't have the I overcame death issue. Well, we be getting off subject, don't we? Grand Rising Norman. Um, sorry, my back. I'm having back pains this week. It might even be a muscle spasm. Kim said he want to try it. Where do you live, Kim? What state you in? I know you told me before. I can tell you this, Aladdin. I don't do anything that's not natural. If it's not natural, I don't even mess with it. That's why I would be, even though I don't like weed, I would be afraid to do weed because shit's so unnatural now. Oh, you're in Milwaukee? I wonder if that company's still around. I haven't done salvia in so long. Because the company that I got it from, they stopped shipping to Georgia because it's illegal in Georgia. She would say she's excited. Yeah, got to set the setting. And so I meditate before. I'm trying to see if the company that I got it from is still around. But I don't see them. It was a California company. What are the rules in Milwaukee and Wisconsin? I don't see it. Well, no, they lost their domain site. So I guess they're not around anymore. So I can't tell you anything about that part. I have to do some research on it. And let me say again, I am not trying to get anybody to do anything. Kevin Peters, you do not know cigars, sir. Cigars are natural. They now you have your them sweet cigars and all that stuff, which they do spray some stuff on those. But a cigar is all natural. It's not considered a cigar if you grow it or spray chemicals on it. I mean, of course they use bug deterrents, but a cigar is all natural. I really got banned in Georgia. Crazy. Yeah, when I found out about salvia, you couldn't get it in Georgia. I had to order it. I got it from a place in California. Actually, no, arrowweird.org. I think I saw that. I think that did pop up. I've been doing a little bit of research about this guy, Simeon Toko. I can't find anything that validates that he performed any of these miracles. It's just people claiming it. So, I mean, he's been in hand as far as I'm concerned so far. What kind do you smoke? Right now, I'm smoking this is a hypnotic cigarero from it's a Dominican, pure Dominican cigar. You said same as weed, but I don't know. It's just I'm not very knowledgeable about weed, but like from what people who used to smoke weed back in the day tell me about weed today, they like it's been chemicalized, and you have to be mindful or careful because people have used a lot. They chemicalized weed. I can't get past the smell of weed, personally. He was a person of color, black. If he existed, any of the historical Yeshuas would have been a person of color, but straight up black, no, because they had so many incursions of Greeks and Romans. By the time you get to first century, that most likely the person would have been a mixed person. I'm not promoting this. I just accidentally clicked on that. That was an accidental. I ain't mean to click on Yoshi's thing for any government agencies watching. That was accident. That was completely accident. I'm not going to it right now. That was a complete accident. But I do know our government it has experimented with hallucinogen to try to expand people's mind, but of course it wasn't for good purposes. It's always for some kind of uh, military or political, trying to militarily or politically take over something. But yeah, don't listen to me. Go study stuff for yourself. And say, no, weed is fine. I don't know. But I don't like the way it smells. And it might be things the street dudes that manipulate it. Now, if you grow your own and you're good to go, or you get it from somewhere that's certified, yeah, like I do personally think marijuana should be legal. I can't go as far as like how Oregon and Washington State, where everything is legal. I don't think everything should be legal. Imagine Jesus being mixed race. That would kind of work. Well, the whole 1% thing is an American thing, right? That's more of an American thing. It's more of an American racist thing, and it's an American financial thing and a voting thing. The whole one drop of blood and all that kind of stuff. But that's an American thing. I can't say it's absolutely no way he could have been a pure anything, a pure person, because that land was conquered by so many people over millennials of time. You know, from the Sumerians to the Akkadians, the Assyrians, you know, Canaanites, Phoenicians, Babylonians, Persians. From Persians, and then the Greeks, and then the Romans. And Greeks and Romans had it for for centuries. And it's just so many mixtures that it's unlikely that it's just one person. Wait, I thought Washington State where everything was legal too. Yeah, hold on, but okay, so I got two in Washington. So Brian W. and Quinn are both in Washington. Where are you in Washington, Quinn? I think Brian W. Where are you at again? I forgot. I know you're somewhere near Seattle, I think. Well, cigarettes. Yeah, they're gonna keep that. Oh, you talking about his mother being human and his daddy being God? Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, his mom and his dad is human. But yeah, Brian W. I think Oregon and Washington State were the first two places, and maybe Nevada, where they legalized everything. Like every goddamn thing is legal. You can buy cocaine and all that shit. I know Oregon, everything is legal. I don't know where Fort Lewis is and Haynesville. Oh, you can't do that there. Okay, what was the thing that it was? Is okay? So, is Oregon the one where everything is legal? What state is all drugs legal? Are all drugs legal? That was so incorrect. Oh, Oregon became the first state to decriminalize all drugs in 2020. So my bad. That's just Oregon. What drugs are legal in Washington State? So marijuana is legal in Washington State. My bad. I know marijuana is legal in Colorado, but I don't think all the other stuff is legal. But Oregon made everything legal. So all drugs are legal in Oregon. So if you want to do all the stuff, go to Oregon, I guess. Fort Lewis, Washington. So Fort Lewis. This is a personal curiosity for me. Oh, that's not. Just when I come to Washington State this next summer or this upcoming summer, I just want to know where Brian and now Quinn are located. Because when I come through, and y'all be acting like y'all ain't around, like y'all busy. I'm gonna talk shit about y'all. Just letting you know. Just letting you know. No. I don't want to hear no bullshit. I'm gonna be like, Brian, Quinn, where y'all at? You know, I'm busy. I'm busy. And then I'm gonna go online and talk shit about you. Ask Dwayne Howard, will I talk shit about you? I will. Me and my brother haven't figured out exactly when we're. Well, I got to figure it all out. It's either June or July that my son is in Spokane. So we're going to ride from Atlanta to Washington, stop and see him, and then finish riding all the way to Seattle, and then ride all the way back. See, Dwayne laughed because he know. He know. I talk shit. Don't let me. Don't don't meet me. I don't know why my Google Maps ain't coming up on that one right there. You just got me curious as to where y'all at. But I'm more of the. I will do the. But I do everything I do is like more mind opening spiritual purpose. My cousin called me. Like I said earlier, one of my cousins passed away, so just making sure it's nothing important. Oh Lord, Quinn is from the Bronx. Oh, y'all know them Northerners, boy. New Yorkers, they something special. They are something special. Okay, so Fort Lewis is south of, that's near Tacoma. All right, so I don't want to hear no bullshit when we get to Seattle. Talking about some come down to Tacoma. I'm like, hell no. Come to Seattle. That's where we at. Oh, Hansville is what the, in near Seattle too. Is that like a suburb? No, okay. Like on a little peninsula. That's pretty cool. You probably got some really good views. Okay. Yeah, Brian's at Tacoma. Yeah, sorry to hear about that. Oh, thank you, Nikki. So if you get caught buying or selling it, you go to jail. But if you're hired just using it, you don't go to jail. Can't bust us ready to obtain the product. Gotcha. So all the black people are in Tacoma. You want to go to Tacoma? If I tell my brother that, then he'll probably like, man, all right, we're gonna go down to Tacoma, which that might be our route leaving. We'll probably go through Tacoma on our way when we leave. But that part, ooh, being by the water, I'm a nut for. I will go to some water. Appreciate that, Marcus. Angelina told me I couldn't make this joke. Um, you know how they say death comes in threes? And I don't know, I had that death dream last night. Maybe that was the third. So a young lady I graduated high school with, she passed away last week. Keisha Nash Whitaker, she passed away. And of course, since she grew up here with all of us in Marietta, a lot of people knew her. And last time I talked to her was in 2017 though. And then my cousin passed away. So I told Angelina, I said, I'm gonna come on there and tell everybody, y'all better be careful now. It come in threes. Y'all better not drive. She said that would be a mean joke to say. But I don't take death seriously. I don't take death as like, oh, death, oh my gosh. I'm so afraid of dying and all that. But it's just like, damn. That heater wasn't making too much noise. See? But see, Trump, I figured you would understand me making a joke like that. There are a few people that I was saying, they'll get it. Trauma used one of them. But yes, we are. Me and my brother will be driving. And this other guy, he's supposed to ride with us. We're going to see if he ride. He talking about he can handle a cross-country ride. We're going to see. Let's see. What time is it? Now, I told him, he called me about some damn cigars. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that. Kemp said he just lost 3 people literally. Like I do feel sorry for other people because not everybody looks at death the same way I do. People look at it differently. So I try to be conscious of how other people look at it. What was your MOS? Technically, I was a supply administrator. Technically. But I probably only worked supply for a year, and then I held other billets that we don't talk about. Too tough. Let's just say I spent a lot of time in a lot of places dealing with a whole bunch of stuff. Kevin, you a jawhead, you're a devil dog, Kevin. You gotta be because you know the number. Kevin gotta be a jawhead. Gotta be a Marine. Yeah, where my cigar lounge was, guy just died. They just had a whole big deal about people they were hospitalized. They didn't die off fentanyl. I don't even really know what fentanyl is, but isn't that the date rape thing? $19K in the house. What was that? What's $19K mean? Yes, sir. Parris Island. Parris Island. The only real birthplace of Marine. No Hollywood Marines here. Hoorah, Simplified Devil Dog. Oh, so it's a painkiller. Got you. But that's not the thing that they be jacking people's drinks with and taking advantage of them. Oh, shit. You're an Army tanker? I'm not trying to be mean because unless I'm wrong, the picture you have is a woman, right? So I know 19K means 19,000, but in the military, it might mean something else, Marcus. I didn't know women drove tanks. Oh, that's Molly or Roofies or GHB. Yeah, I'm not really big on knowing all the stuff. I have tried because Molly and ecstasy is the same thing, right? Isn't that the same? From my understanding, I was told it's the same thing. And the GHB, they all the same thing, right? And yeah, no, sorry, not the GHB, the MDMA. Yeah, that's the MDMA. I tried that twice, three times, three times. He ain't do shit. He didn't do one blessed thing. And it was supposed to be all pure because I don't want anything chemicalized. But it didn't do a damn thing. When you talk about somebody who's like, I'm expecting something, it didn't do shit. And granted, I know I have a high tolerance for everything. He ain't do a goddamn thing. Right. The date rape drug. The fent. Right. I thought they zombie out and then people take advantage of them. Look, I am a very experimental person. Kemp. I believe you should try everything. You should try things at least 3 times before you say whether you like it or not. As far as that MDMA, each source of supply said it was pure. And the other people who got it from the same source was like, oh yeah, I wanted to touch everything and everything was so that I can feel all the textures and all this stuff. And I was like, I was just chilling. Didn't feel nothing different. Eventually just went to sleep. Yep. It's true. We're all going to die. Yeah. Eventually on Earth. Nobody knows time, place. That's why I don't worry about it. But I'm not fearful of it either because I ain't coming back here. He said, I can't believe you saying it ain't do it. No, it didn't, man. It ain't do shit. I was so disappointed too. Because I heard so much about it for so many years that I heard like, oh yeah, you just feeling all like, and you can feel everything and all this and da, 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 da. And understand when I've done like shroom trips, especially when we was on the beach and I did a shroom trip, I could the way the wind feel and the energy of the ocean, it was like intense feelings of the ocean. So I'm thinking this, which is supposed to really make you feel stuff, it should be even better than that. And I ain't feel a goddamn thing. I'm so mad. Yeah. And we all deal with death differently. We just appreciate the time that we have here. Yeah, I just would leave that alone. I've never heard anything good about fentanyl. I would just leave that alone. Take advantage of what, a zombie? But that's the whole thing with it. People get all zombied up and pass out and then they don't remember. Isn't that what that whole thing is? Right. So Debbie said it must have been fake. And that's what I was thinking. But the last time it was supposed to have come from someone who was medical and they supposed to know. And the other person who had the same batch, they was like, oh yeah, I was feeling. And I was like, a couple days, the next day when I talked to him, I was like, dude, we were texting. I was like, I ain't feel shit. You can give me some bullshit. That is a sad thing to see when you see all the junkie people who are strung out on drugs. Yep. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily, merrily. Life is but a dream. It certainly is. Keep saying nothing good about that shit. I do like the mind opening things. Like Right now, I love shrooms. I love shrooms. Um, every time I've done shrooms and I had enough where I actually went on a trip, because there's been a few times where I was microdosing, so you're not going to go on a trip. But my focus was more intense. Um, and then other times when I was actually going on a trip, um, the revelations that come about, because I do it before I do anything like that, I get into deep meditative states. And what turned me on to that is that as I was studying all these different cultures and whatnot, I found that the shamans, that this is what in the ancient times, a lot of this is what the shamans or the witch doctors or the priests or whomever was using. And when you study a lot of these ancient religions, and even in the Bible, you can find it in there, these things were used to open up people's mind to higher consciousness. So that's what got me into trying some of those things. Said he'd be lying for clout. 5. I'm good at 4. 4 and I'm good. Sackcloth, we were talking about Christmas, but now we're talking about psychedelic drinks for the most part. I've heard this before as well, Brian, that Moab, Utah has the best extreme trip. So you old enough to know your body and your behavior. Yeah, weed don't do shit for me. I tried weed. I used to use weed when I would do my annual self retreat meditation, um, from October from October 13th to October 15th, to coincide with my born day, because that's also when I reevaluate my year and reevaluate my 1-year plan, 5-year plan. But it wasn't really doing much for me, and then I just didn't like the way I felt with it. I have not, but I will. That's what the Native Americans used to use to speak to the ancestors. Yeah, right now the right stuff for me is some good shrooms, some teachers, or some the penis envy or the blue something. It's blue somebody, something blue or blue somebody. Nope, weed stink. It stinks. I don't like the smell. The smell of weed bothers the hell out of me. It stink. Are you still in the service, Queen? Right. It's naturally grown. So I don't know why there's a. Well, marijuana really. Okay, you got out. Marijuana really got a bad rap because it was like, I think the cotton industry is what shut it down. So it really didn't have nothing to do about as far as it being a drug, but it was the cotton industry, and they just use it as a drug. And then they made it seem like your white women would have weed madness and then go get with a bunch of black men. So they, if you look up some of those old weed propaganda, it's crazy. Nope. Look, if you're driving down the streets of Atlanta or anywhere in Atlanta on the highway, you can probably catch a buzz just driving down the street. I tried edibles when I was in California 2 years, almost 3 years ago. All I did was go to sleep. Right. It was used. They used Mexicans and black and African Americans to make them look bad, but it was your white woman is going to get with these black men, and that's how they got the white men to agree to make marijuana illegal. You know, because the one thing you can do, especially back in the day, to get white men to vote on something is make them think that they're going to lose their women to some black men, and they lose their shit. Right, I'm going to find one of them. But hemp, yeah, hemp is a better product than cotton. Marijuana madness propaganda. Well, they got rid of a lot of the ones that had black men on it. But see, they would do all they was making all of these kind of posters. And like most of them was showing where their women was gonna, the white woman was gonna lose her stuff if she smoked the marijuana, the reefer. I used that term once, and my family members was like, "How old are you?" I'm about some reefer. Nobody say, "No, that wasn't my family. That was some other folks." They was like, "Reefer." And this is one where they used it against Mexicans. That's not a good picture. This was another one against Mexicans. This is funny. I know I've seen the black ones where they had the black man and the white woman. But they did the cocaine one as well. But you notice each one of them is going to have their women being loose. They don't want their women to be loose because that's about legacy. You know, you can't have the babies born with these other people. Did the internet get rid of all the ones with black people in it? Because I know I've seen ones with black people in it. I know y'all typing stuff, but this is bothering me that I can't find what I know I've seen before. Weed increases neuroplasticity. That's what I'm feeling like right now. I'm feeling like the Mandela effect. I am straight up feeling like the Mandela effect. Y'all do know what Mandela effect is, right? I am having a Mandela effect. So the Mandela effect is where we all have a group consciousness of believing something, but the reality is that that's not what it really was. Um, like, does Curious George have a tail? Mandela effect. Did the most people think the guy on the Monopoly game, the banker, had a monocle, but he didn't. I think the same thing with the Mr. Peanut having a monocle. It's called the Mandela effect because most people believe that Mandela died in jail, but he didn't die in jail. So, like with Curious George, which one? Yeah, Mr. Peanut had a monocle, but people think he didn't. Which Curious George is the real one? Is the one you grew up with? I'm trying to get that light out of the way. Most people remember him having a tail, but he doesn't. He never had a tail. For all you youngins, which Pokemon, which Pikachu is the right Pikachu?
Talk back on Google.
Shut up. Did he have a little black on his tail or did he not? But if you go back and look at the cartoon, he doesn't have the little black on his tail.
Controls. Back button.
Hey, stop
Double
talking.
tap to activate. Double tap and hold to long press.
I did not do that.
Back button. Double tap to activate. Double tap and hold to long press.
I did not.
80%. What is
Look him. Stop talking.
default?
Stop talking.
Volume controls hidden. Close button. Double tap to activate. Double tap and hold to long. More button. Overview. Home button.
I did not do that.
Characters. Default.
Okay. We're going to turn you off.
Power off. Power off and restart. 2 of 3. Enlist. 3 items.
Machines are taking
tap
over.
To activate. Double tap and hold to long press.
Yeah, I knew he was on the 2008 watch list. Yeah, but it's like, is it Mirror, Mirror on the Wall? Who's the fairest of them all? Which one is it? Is it that? Is that what it says? How many of y'all think that's what it says? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Yeah, but
Power off and restart. Double tap to activate. Double tap and hold. Alert restart the tablet.
I did not do that.
Restart button.
Stop talking.
Double tap to activate.
No. Actually, it's not mirror, mirror on the wall. It's magic mirror on the wall. But people think it's mirror, mirror on the wall. And I love Queen, the band Queen. And their song "We Are the Conquerors." That's what I was, because I was telling it. Me and Angelina was talking about the Mandela effect a couple days ago, and that song "We Are the Conquerors." That last verse, everybody says "We are the conquerors" and end with "of the world," but that last verse doesn't end with "of the world." The actual lyrics just says end with "We are the conquerors." Now, there are a few copies that, depending upon where you buy them in England, where it will say "Have the We Are the World" at the very end. But the original lyrics does not have "of the world." Sorry, not "We Are the World." "Of the world" at the end. Yeah. But it doesn't end with "of the world." It just ends with "We are the champions." But there's a few that have. I watched some of the live versions, and the live versions, he doesn't say it. Now, I didn't watch all of them, so there might be some where he did, but the original lyrics does not say "of the world" at the end. That's right, Santa Claus. But there's a whole bunch of things like that. There's a bunch of things that we all seem to remember it being one way, but it's actually a different way. And that's the Mandela effect. Just look up like 40 most popular Mandela effects or something like that, and you'll see a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, the album version did not have that. And nor if you look up the original lyrics. If you just look up Google lyrics, anybody can write the Google lyrics. So you can't trust that. But Freddie Mercury's original lyrics does not end that way. Yeah, Mandela did speak against the U.S. like Malcolm did. And if he would most certainly, he'd be considered a threat today. But Mandela effects are pretty cool though, because it's gonna make you be like, no, I'm gonna go look it up. And then you go look it up and you be like, oh shit, the banker didn't have a monocle. Mr. Peanut does have a monocle. Curious George didn't have a tail. That magic mirror one threw me off. I have always thought it was mirror, mirror, because that's what you hear everybody saying. But that's not what it says. Some people have used the Mandela effect to say that there's to claim a glitch in the matrix. No, when he was saying, he wasn't saying, okay, read this differently. Mandela spoke against the U.S., not against us, against the U.S. Oh yeah, a whole bunch. I understand why a whole bunch of countries are against the U.S. Hell, I was one of them while I was serving. Where did you serve anyway, Kevin? When and where did you serve? Is that a Mandela effect? CP3PO having two different colored legs? No, he was all gold, wasn't he? Oh, you served in Okinawa. Oh, and Somalia. I was planning to do Okinawa in the tail end of my career. I was going to do Okinawa. Somalia. Oh,
Back on. Portrait.
this helps me keep on talking. She needs to shut up. Oh, so when you was in Somalia, you may not have known it, but
Item 6 of 6.
you were under my headquarters command when you was in Somalia. I was in headquarters Marine Forces Europe when you was in Somalia. We could have crossed paths at one point, and it's been amazing that I ran across people that we crossed paths and didn't know it. Depends on what your job was, though. Oh my gosh, if you don't stop talking. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. 53%. 53%. I'll fix that lady. She getting on my nerve. Now we're in a part where we talk about anything, and I gotta get off here in a few minutes anyway, though. So I know that it's also why are our civil rights leaders often being quoted by enemies? Because that's how you take the leadership away, is by making them universal. Yeah. So using the 15th mu, then y'all you wouldn't have. Yeah. So I probably didn't. What was your job though? But yeah, when y'all came to got over there, as soon as y'all crossed a certain the into the Arabian Sea, I think Arabian Sea is when y'all would have changed in under our command.
Account action required. Lorenzo@gmail.com. Account action required. Popcorn@gmail.com.
Oh my God! Shut,
Account action.
shut up! Shut! Just just shut up! Just shut it! So the CIA probably provided intel to where to find Mandela when the South African apartheid government arrested him. I wouldn't doubt it at all. I would not be surprised. Yeah, government and those in power can allow for civil rights leaders to gain popularity in their own country or across the world and gain that worldwide support. So they have to make them into puppets, or just make them bland. I mean, not puppets, but bland them out. But they did make some of them into puppets. Oh, grunt and embarkation. Bullshit. Marines lead the way, baby. Marines lead the way always, young lady. Also use a grunt. Okay, so we would have never crossed paths. I would have dealt with your force recon and SEALs when y'all dealt with Somalia. So if the briefings that I did, you wouldn't have been. You more than likely would not have been a part of those briefings. Have I thought about joining Discord? I don't know what Discord is. I think anybody can have a spiritual experience, regardless of their belief system. It's all about what they believe in their own mind and the connection between their conscious mind, subconscious mind, emotions, instincts, and sexual energy, all merging together, but at different levels. You know, you might have a spiritual experience, and it's just your conscious and subconscious, or just your emotional mind and your conscious mind, which is gonna, like, you have that much of a spiritual experience. But the more of your synaptic minds that connect, the larger the experience you can have, and more depth and power you have in your experiences. Oh, we got a little 120 millimeter, little pew pew, little pew pew. You just lucky the warthog is on our side. How about that? Y'all don't mind. I talk now with military people. You know we talk shit against each other, but when y'all comes down to it, we know what we doing. We appreciate each other here, totally in complete total. Yeah, we depend on each other and trust each other completely. With her little pew pew. See, this is what I'm talking about. The New Yorkers, boy, they always got something to say. Now, when you have political leaders in other countries who are siding against the United States, then yes, destabilizing that nation by setting up opposing forces or assassinations or imprisonments is a common thing to do in order to make sure that you're able to take that country over politically. and politically, financially, and militarily. Most of the time, you just want to take them over politically and financially. You don't want to have to use military if you can help it. Discord is an instant messaging and voice over IP social platform that allows communication through voice calls, cell calls, text messages, media. All right, so I understand what that is. It sounds like WhatsApp. What would I use it for? It sounds like WhatsApp and Facebook smashed together. What would I use it for? What's the purpose of main utilization of it? Yeah, it does still happen right now. And what Quinn is saying, Romanization is still happening, exists to this day. If you understand, the Romans got it from the Greeks. So really, Romanization is Hellenizing. Is when Hellenizing, they kind of made you a part of them. Rome made you a part of them, but a sub part of them. So you're under the Roman Empire, but you're not a true Roman. But you get some of the benefits of the Roman Empire, but you never get the power that's within the Roman Empire. So we still do that today, where we will make a country feel like they own our team, but yet they are like they the JV or a freshman. You know, they don't get they're not fully in the group. If you're in a gaming, it helps Discord. I mean, if you're into gaming, I'm not sure what you mean by that. But most countries try to do that. But it's something that people have been doing for a long time. And yeah, that's just how our government treats everybody. And this is one of the things that I can't stand about our government. And unfortunately, I participated in is using peace in order to acquire other countries' resources. Yep. It's a big cord and you ain't in it. Oh, Discord is used for, okay. I'm gonna have to tell my son about that because he's starting to he's a gamer and he's created a Twitch page. It's weird to listen to him on Twitch because I'm like, my son is just the way he be talking to people. I'm like, really, dude? You sure you my child? I'll check it out. So you love America? I don't. I love what America could be. But what America is, I do not. What it is, I can't stand what America is. But what it could be, it's kind of like I had this Steph Green, he was a racist, but he had moments of clarity. And in one of his moments of clarity, when I was severely hating being that I had signed up for the Marine Corps, because he was making my life a living hell. But he told me, he said, the Marine Corps is based on great principles, but it's humans who mess it up. And he was talking about himself. Oh, that all your family is born here in America. Yeah. And it's a bunch of political hypocrites. Like my man says, if you think about what the preamble says, if America actually upheld the preamble of the Constitution and that idea was acted out, then America would be a great country. But it doesn't. The people don't. The people have never followed that preamble. And socialism has its benefits, but I'm not a big fan of socialism. Witnessing socialism in Germany, it had its good points, but I don't too much government control. They're taking all your damn money. And yeah, everybody was like, yeah, we have free healthcare and we have free university and all this. But I'm like, yeah, but you still have a lot of classism. There's a ton of classism in socialism. And then they're inhibited. Their technology is often inhibited as well. Like the medical care that you would get in Germany at a German hospital is 20, 30 years behind American medical care. Yeah, America is a corporation. It does seem that way, that the cruel and hateful always seem to win because they're willing to do what the good people aren't willing to do. He said, what constitution, the bankers or the national? I'm talking about that preamble. We the people, in order to form a more perfect nation, that preamble, that all men are granted inalienable rights by their creator of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But that all men are created equal. Like if they really believe that, if we actually live by the idea that all men are created equal, meaning men and women, doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter your race, none of those things matter. That everybody, Karl Marx and Engels, communism, everybody has an equal and fair opportunity to prove how unequal they are. Meaning that every school has the same resources, teach the same stuff, that no matter where you start in life, you can change your life however you decide based on the efforts and work you put in, and the system, and a fair system. That would be, it's written in the Constitution, but it's not done. We don't do it. Trump, when they first wrote "We the People," they meant land owning white Anglo-Saxon males. That's who we the people were when they first wrote it. It has become the government. Yeah. And see, to be raised that way, but most people aren't raised that way. And then society, our culture is not that way. Right? Our culture is not. Like Yoshi, just walk with me for a second. Yoshi, your picture is a white guy. So I'm going to assume that you are a white guy, right? Now, in general, you as an individual will think that way and may act out your life that way. But because of the cultural feed that you get, there are those instances where you will show prejudice, just like there are instances where I will show prejudice, and that's what's messed up, is that culturally, individually, we can be great. Me and you can be great. We can have conversation, treat each other equally, all these sorts of things. But then when we come as a people, when there's a people groups and the people groups are separated and there's an idea, then the idea that the black man is automatically a threat, that the Irish are always drunk. You know what I'm saying? There's that mindset that people will have, and as a collective, and it fucks up everything. Look, I apologize for the ads, but in order for me to do this, as much as I'm doing this, lives and all the other videos, the ads got to be there. So I'm sorry, just bear with me. And it's weird. Some people get ads and some people don't. Like Debbie just said, she's not getting any ads. what? Every great kingdom has to come to an end at some point. Yeah, America will end. I give America about 200 more years before it falls apart. No, Quinn is on Facebook. Hell, YouTube is the one that be getting the ads though. Get ads more often, but she's on Facebook. You're getting them every 5 minutes. I don't know why you're getting them every 5 minutes on Facebook. Most people on Facebook don't even see ads, or they get the little pop-ups at the bottom of the page or something like that. Now, here's an interesting thought process on this. You say you think Irish folks hate white folks in general that would claim to be white folks because Irish folks are prideful and would never lower themselves willingly to be just white. So the Irish, like, let's think back in the day, especially in a place like New York, Chicago, the Irish were getting treated like shit. But then if it was going against the black people, the ones who were treating the Irish like shit, they was on the side of the other Anglos who was going against the black people. It's like, oh, now you are my enemy, but now we got a different enemy. So now we're going to, you're going to be my frenemy now. Now, once we dispose of them or take care of this issue, now we back to being enemies. And that's like a messed up mindset that we have, that we would do that people have done that throughout history. You ever, like, I seen this happen here in Atlanta a lot, and I'm pretty sure if you live in most major cities, you've seen this. You have a neighborhood, it's predominantly white, mixtures, Irish, French, Anglicans, all that. Everybody's fine because we all look kind of white. You get the one black family moves in, it's like, oh yeah, hey, come on in, everybody want to be your friend. But then you get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 black families move in, and all of a sudden everybody want to move. So all that we're equal stuff was cool until a third of your neighborhood is now black or Spanish, and now it's like, oh, the neighborhood going, now everybody want to move and get away. True, the Irish weren't white back then until they had to start dealing with black people. Then they became white. Or deal with Spanish people. Then they became white. Everybody at some point goes into their own selfishness based on the group models that we've created. And that's what I'm saying. We've created these group models that really shouldn't have any bearing, but because we created these group models, as an individual, you may not fall for it, but then as a group, we wind up falling for it. And see, this is your experience, Queen Yoshi, but then this is Quinn's experience. And then black folks getting their ass whooped by the cops, and 90% of the cops in New York be Irish. Shit, it was for a while. It was like cops, nurses, and firemen, Irish, like mother. See, we get into that group mind be screwing us up. Yeah. And there are very few people outside of the black culture black race that will say that man started in Africa. Most of them try to prove that they didn't. But it's a messed up thing. And that's what I'm saying. America could be great if we can get over the things that separate us. Because everything that separates us is created, is man-made. I got a lot of melanin, Yoshi doesn't have as much melanin, but we both melanated. So we separate based on degrees of melanation. That's dumb as hell. Okay, so he was raised in Arizona, and that's a whole nother thing. Being raised in, that's what I'm saying. Culture makes a huge difference. Huge difference. But guys, I'm gonna have to get off here. I got somebody coming to my house around 4:30, so I need to get off here so I can make these videos before they get here. And then I gotta make these other videos. As usual, conversations just be going way off over there somewhere. Doesn't matter what I start the conversation on. We're only gonna get a good hour of that conversation, maybe. And then it goes wherever else it goes. So what's today? Thursday? Yeah, today's Thursday. I didn't do a live yesterday, so I will make up for that live and do a live tomorrow. But normally we're only going to do lives on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so that I can have time to do this other work. The live tomorrow will be shorter than normal, and I'm probably lying about that. It'll probably be the same length of time, because every time, once I get started, I don't know how to stop talking until I'm forced. But yeah. So because I got to take time to finish writing this book. Actually, that's what I need. Some micro dosing of mushrooms will help me focus to finish this book. But yes, and so y'all have a great day. Thank you guys for sharing these videos and sharing the channel and subscribing. If you're not following the page, I need you to follow the pages that you're on, especially Facebook. Right? Because the following and the sharing and everything, that is what's allowing me to be able to do this. So keep following, keep sharing. And this is that's how it goes, Sackcloth. That is how it goes. We're gonna talk about Christmas. 10 minutes later, drugs, and we ain't talking about hookers yet now. So I created a page called The Art of Tantric Love. That's where I'm going to be talking about relationships and sex. Me and Angelina created a page called Eat, Sip, and Smoke Travel. That's where we, doing our little travel thing and our cigars and food and drinks. And we just, it's a travel blog and a review blog. And then Angelina has Really Did You Know, where little known information or kind of almost like Mandela effect information. Actually, she should do some. That's how me and her start talking about Mandela effect. Because I told her she can do some Mandela effect videos. Right. So I appreciate you guys if you could go and follow all those pages on Facebook. That'll be great. So y'all have a great day. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations. And I'm out.